Out of only 2 series and whatever it was that happened in those series.
Yeah, that's probably a better, question for Coach as far as an evaluation. Until I watch the tape, it's going to be hard for me to really judge the 2 series that I was on the field. However, just, kind of thinking back, comparing to how we started the Saints game to this game, I think we made some improvements. Now, I say that, and we still had penalties in this game in our first series, which is obviously a negative, but we overcame those penalties. And I think that is a huge positive. It shows a lot of growth where, in week 1 against the Saints, we had setbacks in those first 3 drives with penalties, but we weren't able to overcome them. And tonight, being able to, be in second and long, first and long, and find a way to still get a first down, I think is a big key. But obviously, we can't have a turnover in the red area. Our defense did a tremendous job of giving us a short field, and we can't turn the ball over.
What happened on that batted pass?
I'm going to have to see it on tape. I took my 5 steps. I threw on time. It looked like, Corey Coleman won on the outside on the route that he was running. So, it was just a great play by the defense. Sometimes, unfortunately, they win. Those guys are very talented on the other side of the ball as well. And I think one of their good players got a hand up and was able to tip the ball and make a great play for their team.
I know it's only 2 series tonight and 6, I think, over the 2 games, but is there any frustration level in the fact that you haven't been able to get in the end zone?
No frustration yet. Certainly, we're striving every single drive to put points on the board. So the fact that we're not, absolutely, that's upsetting. But at the same time, you still have to look at the good that's taking place, and there is good. But we do have plenty of room to grow as an offense, and I think all of us know that. Nobody's shying away from that. And we're going to come back to work hard this week because we know we need to improve.
Is it possible that Hugh Jackson, has seen enough of you on film and in practice that, maybe he can just throw you out there for 2 series in a game like this and still have enough data and information, to name you the starter for the 3rd preseason game and for the season?
That's a great question for Coach. The one thing I would say is in comparison to all the other quarterbacks in the room, I have a lot more tape out there. I've played in games, I have 5 years, and then obviously this preseason of tape. So that combined with practice, things that we do in the meeting room, maybe there is a great chance. Coach is, there's always a method to the madness. That's what you always say in the coaching and playing world. Sometimes you're always like, geez, what's Coach doing today? And you just got to trust in the process. You got to trust in what your coach is doing. And I certainly trust Coach Jackson.
Maybe it's not a psychological thing where you're going to try to internalize a sense of urgency for what you got to do in Game 3 if you're the man in Game 3. But how urgent is it for something to happen in Game 3 with the offense to look crisp, score points, and that's
I think it's important as far as a confidence standpoint. I think it's very important for the starting offense, whoever that is, to go out there against Tampa Bay and put together scoring drives because that's going to give you a really good feeling going into Week 1. Now, there's also been teams, if you go back throughout the history of time, who have had horrible preseasons and then they go on to play for Super Bowls. So at the same token, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You really have to look at what you're doing in practice as well as the games because practice is extremely important during training camp. But you're exactly right. As an offensive unit, we would love to go to Tampa Bay, start building some momentum, start building some confidence, put together scoring drives, protect the football, eliminate the penalties, and that's certainly what we're going to strive for.
Coach said he wants to put the quarterback competition to bed by Wednesday. Either way, will it be a relief? Is it a good thing to get it over with now? Or, how do you view... I think it's probably good for the football team. I think it's good probably for the football team to know who their quarterback is going to be for Week 1 so they can rally around them. And also that quarterback can start building chemistry with that first-string offense. I think that's extremely important, but no relief. At the end of the day, I have no regrets towards anything. I've given it everything I've had from studying in April and May to, OTAs and training camp and preseason games. And we're very fortunate to play for a great football coach here, and I know he'll make a great decision.
Hey, Brock, you told us from the beginning, naturally, that you want to start. So if you were to make a sales pitch, what have you done to earn that starting job?
Well, fortunately, I don't need to make a sales pitch to you guys, so I'm not going to. You know, Coach Jackson is going to make a great decision for this football team because he's a great football coach, and he's great at coaching the quarterback position. And whoever he goes with, I trust his decision, and I support him and this football team 100%.
Do you have a gut feeling on which way this thing is going to go?
I don't.
You really don't?
I really don't.
Heading into Wednesday, you have no idea?
I don't.
What are the elements that you've seen, whether it be tonight or projecting to when everybody is on the field who's supposed to be on the field, the elements that tell you that this can be a good offense?
Well, I think it goes back to that first series tonight. We grew, like I said initially when I started this press conference, we grew from week 1 to week 2 because, you know, we started with penalties again in our first drive. But unlike week 1, we overcame those penalties and we got first downs and we were driving and we were getting ready to hopefully put points up on the board. So to me, that's improvement. Our communication was better. We were crisp breaking the huddle. We were getting out, getting lined up quick. We were shifting quick. We were playing with great tempo, and I think really kind of putting some pressure on the defense. So sometimes I'm sure it's difficult to see, but as players, and I'm sure this coaching staff can see it, there's fine little details that we're improving every single week.
On that third down on the second series,
Mhm.
when you took off to run, was it just didn't see anybody open? What happened?
Yeah, that was it. So, you know what? Give credit to the New York Giants and their coaching staff for making a great call. It was a play that we were expecting a certain coverage. We didn't get that coverage. And I just went through my progression, and both guys were covered. And when both guys are covered, the third option on third down is to scramble and try to make a play and get a first down for your team. But once again, without seeing that play on tape yet, it's really hard to give myself a grade. You know, is that a plus? Is that a minus? But at the time, it felt like it was the right decision because it seemed like the receivers were covered.
Is there any element at this point of playing somewhat safe? And I'm simply going on the length of the completions, 9 yards on down. So they're all short completions. I think it was 6 out of 8.
Yeah, you know, I don't think I was playing conservative at all. In fact, I believe it was that second drive. If you look at it, we called a 4 vertical play. And, you know, I tried threading a ball into Randall, our tight end, into 3 deep zone when really, to me, after I watched the tape, because I already know what coverage they were playing, that's probably a minus. You know, they were playing 3 deep zone. Probably should have checked it down to the back and taken a 5-yard completion and got our team to 2nd and 5 rather than 2nd and 10. You know, I think playing quarterback in the National Football League, a lot of it is managing the game. You know, there's a time and a place to take chances. And the New York Giants played a lot of zone tonight. When teams play zone, you know, that's when you got to run the football and that's when you got to take your underneath throws. Now, when teams come up and play man-to-man coverage, now you take your shots downfield.
Brock, I don't think we've seen a team with as many players take a knee during the national anthem as we did today. And assuming our teammates have talked about praying during that moment. I know you weren't involved in that particular action, but being in a leadership position, I was just wondering what you think of so many of your teammates doing.
Of course. You know, first and foremost, I support all my teammates. You know, we're a family. We spend so much time together. We work so hard together. We're a family, and I support every single one of those guys. You know, I think we would all admit and you know, be the first to say that we're all so fortunate to live in this amazing country. You know, this is the greatest country on the planet. And those guys have the right to do whatever they want during the national anthem. And that's certainly up to them to decide. And like I said, I support those guys. But, you know, me personally, you know, the national anthem before a football game is such a special moment. And it's a moment that I cherish greatly because so many people have sacrificed so many things just to allow, you know, myself and my teammates that amazing opportunity to go out there and play football. So I will continue to stand with great pride and you know, thank those men and women who have given us that sacrifice. But once again, I support all my teammates regardless of the decision they make.